Hi guys, this is Garrett from Inform, and today I want to show you how to write data back and forth into a NoSQL database, and in this case it's Neo4j. So as you probably know, Neo4j is a NoSQL graph database that actually store nodes and relations and cannot be queried by SQL. So Qlik Sense is not providing a connector for Neo4j, at least not out of the box. So the first task was to somehow get the data from Neo4j into Qlik Sense, and for this use case I selected the sample database that Neo4j is providing, and it's the very well-known movie database where you have nodes and edges. For example, here you have the movie Apollo 13, and you have different edges to all the actors that acted in Apollo 13, and of course two directors as well. And in Neo4j, which is a local installation of Neo4j, you can of course create a similar image like that, with all the data with all these relations, and you can run ciphers. For example, please match all persons that have relations to movies and return those, and you will get this image. So how can we pull this data out of Neo4j into Qlik Sense to have this image displayed here? So what I wrote is a JavaScript Node.js REST service that actually pulls data from Neo4j and sends it back to Qlik Sense. So I wrote this short code, which is not that sophisticated, but for this use case, that's fair enough. So if you call a local URL generic and then provide the database name and then provide a cipher, it's placing a query to my local installation of Neo4j, providing my Garrett username and password, and then sends back the result of the cipher as a JSON object. And then, of course, the Qlik Sense REST connector would have to take care of reading this JSON and doing stuff with it. So to give you an example, I run this query in Postman, and I provide the same exact query, and you will get a JSON file back with all the nodes, with all the movies, with all the actors, with all the relations. And of course, Qlik Sense can read this information. To come up with this diagram and to basically see the same exact graph that Neo4j is providing in its web interface. So this is part one, but of course I want to edit and want to create maybe new nodes and new edges. And for this use case, I combined Neo4j with Write, our edit and plan extension from Inform. And in this case, it's a Write edit. It's a flat table to maintain existing nodes and maybe change names, change titles of movies, and change relations. And Write forms, which is just a plain and simple input, where you can actually create new non-existing nodes and create new relations. So I want to create a new relation, and I want to act in a B movie called Apollo 12, not 13. So just to show you what's happening is I will select, let's say, Garrett, just to show you the effect. There is no actor Garrett in the database yet. So on the other hand, if I show you the Neo4j database, I can run a cipher and try to find a node with the name of Garrett, and of course it's not returning any values, so there is no Garrett yet. So let's create a new actor or a new node, and it's called Garrett, and Garrett acted in a new movie, and it's called Apollo 12. So if I click the Save button now, the information is stored back to Neo4j via my REST service, and in this case it's not reading data, but it's actually writing data. So I combined the extension with my REST service to write data back to Neo4j. And to show you the result, I can of course look into Neo4j, run this query once again, and okay, now there is a link between Gerrit and Apollo 12, and Gerrit acted in Apollo 12. And as you can see, I can then try to find this data in Qlik as well. So let's see, Gerrit, yes, now it's available. And yeah, the new information was created that Gerrit acted in Apollo 12. So not only can you create new nodes and edges, but also you can maintain existing ones. So in this case, maybe I made a typo, or I want to edit the name and change it to Gerrit B, and store the changed information. So what's happening now is that the information gets written to Neo4j, and reload is triggered immediately to pull the data back into the Qlik data model. And of course now the Gerrit node is non-existing anymore, because now it should be called Gerrit B. And let's have a look. And Gerrit B, yeah, is available in Qlik Sense now as well. And Gerrit B acted, or the relation Gerrit B acted in Apollo 12, and Apollo 12, the movie, is existing as well. Okay, so how can we actually achieve that? So I combined the extension object, like here, our write back edit extension with our backend server. So I set up a connection in our backend server here, and you can define storage connections. This is similar to the Qlik's management console, except it's a write management console. And instead of creating database connections or data connections to actually read data or import data, in this case we create storage connections where you can actually write data and send data back to the database. So I created a connection to the database. Actually, I call my REST service, and I tell the extension, okay, what kind of fields are arriving. Here it's the node and the relations, and what should happen once the reload, or once the save event was fired. I could do a partial reload to speed up the reload as well, and then the data gets pulled back into the Qlik data model. So I thought this might be an interesting use case, because writing back to SQL databases is of course pretty easy, but in this case it's actually a NoSQL database and a graph database that's talking with or creating data with ciphers and not SQL statements. So this is just an example how you can actually hook up our write edit extension with some quite unusual target system, and in this case it was a NoSQL Neo4j database. If you're interested in other use cases like other database systems like SAP or standard SQL databases or Snowflake, or maybe you want to write hierarchical data, so this is our write edit flat table extension. We have others for hierarchical data as well. You can get more information at our website write.bi, or follow us on Twitter, and it's @writebyinform. So this concludes my short video for today. Hope you like it. Bye bye.